Hey, welcome to New Mexico Desert Classics. Today I'm not working on that Classic, although it is a 2006. I'm going to show you how step through every bit of the process for changing the battery in a Pontiac Solstice. Engineers, in their fantastic concern for the consumer, decided you have to remove this body panel. So as you can tell, I've already got the hood up. Honestly, if you don't know how to get the hood up on your car, you probably don't need to be changing a battery. I can't help you with that. Just kidding. Pop the hood, reverse. Consists of a series of 3 bolts up here, 3 through here, 2 down here. Panel comes off, bracket swings out of the way, battery comes out, battery goes in. I will tell you, I cheaped out last time because my wife hardly ever drives this car, and I got a 1-year battery. Guess what that means? It means she basically didn't drive the car in the life of this battery, so I went ahead and sprung for the 3-year battery from AutoZone. Helps having a military discount. Gotta love the 10% every time for military and veterans. So let me go grab the tools and we'll get started. Okay, so the beauty of this is you only need a 7mm socket and a 10mm socket. I'm going to set the 10 up here. Mental note, never stand one up because you will forget and you will punch it through your hood. Ask me how I know. Just kidding. I heard a story. All right, so we're just going to start with these top 3. Always helps to have it lefty loosey, righty tighty. And yes, I could zip these out, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to loosen them up and then pop the socket off and use my fingers because I don't like ratchets anywhere around paint. All right, we'll bring you back when I have all of these broken loose and removed. All right, now to get the 2 on the bottom. Don't put too much stress on this panel as you're doing it. All right, now I know I told you there's just those 6 and 2, so that makes 8, right? Yeah, this is where the engineers really got us. Surprise, there's also some tucked behind the door, and they are a royal pain in the butt. Not really, you just have to stretch extension to extension to extension to get there. So I'm gonna put you on pause while I grab those. Okay, so just in case you thought I was kidding, in behind the door, that's where they chose to put this, in behind the door. So, tons of extensions. You slightly close the door, put the ratchet in there, break it loose, spin it out. And of course they make it 18 million threads long. So yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so if I haven't forgotten everything in the year that it's been since I've done this should come right off. All right. Nice to see a screw filled down in there at some point. Be 1, 2, 3. Make sure when you do this that you don't disturb these clips. These clips are the only thing that the screws go into. The clips on here are what the wheel well connects to, and then the clips on here are what this connects to in here. All right, so now we got it off. Now let's attack the battery. Guess what I forgot? All right, so not only is there a body panel in the way, there's the body support in the way. Now, luckily, all we have to do is pull this, loosen this, and take that off, and the whole thing rotates out of the way. So, yay for that. So let's get after that, and we'll be right back. All right, so ratcheting wrench, 10mm, up under here. My wife's making faces as if I'm not working on her favorite car for her to be able to drive it. Yeah, it's awesome. What she doesn't realize is I'm about to spin the camera around at her, and then she will run and cower. So the first time I did this, I attempted to try and remove this fuse box up top to just take the battery straight out the top. Trust me, that is not a great idea. So you remove body panels instead. If you've ever wondered why places like AutoZone and others say free replacement, and then in parentheses it'll say most models. Yeah, this is what's known as not most models. I've never actually tried it. Maybe I should try it. Be like, hey, Walmart, I bought this battery. I want you to install it and see what they do. Although I don't know that I want to sacrifice the car to prove a point. So again, it's been a while since I've done this, and I'm now remembering that I didn't really need to take that all the way off. I just needed to loosen it, because actually you have to pull these, and that swings out on that pivot. So I'm going to put that little nut back on and just not tighten it up, because you do have to loosen it, you just don't take it off. Like I said, this isn't something you do frequently, so you get to learn from my forgetfulness. All right, so we're still going to go with the 10mm with tons of extensions, because I don't like being anywhere near paint with a ratchet. Take that bottom one off. It's all coming back to me now. My wife can't understand why I detest this car. Pontiac wasn't exactly known for its engineering prowess right before its demise. I'm not a huge GM guy. As you guys know, I do a lot of Porsches and Volkswagens, and some Alfa Romeos and some Fiats mixed in. Big Toyota guy for new stuff, because you just can't beat their quality. All right, so now I'm going to close the door a bit so that this clears. This swings out. Ta-da! All right, so I'm going to bring you down in here in a second. But luckily, everything on here is 10mm. So I'm just going to get well away from everything while I remove this positive cable so we don't ground anything out. That out of the way. Negative cable, don't worry about grounding out, because you're not going to ground out a negative, because it's ground, right? A lot of people are probably like, oh, look at this guy with his 18 extensions. Trust me, it's better than dinging my wife's paint. Okay? All right, so that's out of there. So now all we have is this nice little 13mm down here. The battery retainer, so go grab a 13 and pull that. Actually, I won't, because I've got one right here. All right, that battery retainer, a lot of people don't bother anymore, but it's actually very important from a safety standpoint, because the last thing you want to do in a wreck is sling a battery full of lead acid at somebody. Alright, so out it comes. If you thought I was joking about the lack of miles on this battery, it actually looks just about exactly like the ones in the store right now. Okay, so I'm going to go to the old reliable Honda Fit and grab the new battery. Alright, so here we go with our new battery. It's Duralast Gold, because I want it to last more than a year. Alright, so I'm just going to pop that up in there. Always leave the positive cover on until you're done with everything else and actually ready for it. Okay, so I want to seat that. Good. I'm going to get this ready here. All right, we're going to throw you on pause while I look for the hold down bolt. All right, so I take a lot of crap from a lot of people about not editing my videos very much. Yeah, right before I put you on pause, it was, I'm gonna put you on pause while I look for the hold down bolt. It's in my hand. All right, so make sure your battery's where you want it. It's got these nice little lips there. Drop this down in, thread it down. That would be my amazing 12-year-old daughter riding her bike, because that's what she likes to do. You know, while I'm doing this and while you're watching me do this, I'm going to pontificate just a little bit. There's a term that I absolutely detest that I hear all too often these days, and that is kids these days. Well, kids these days, they aren't like we were when we was kids. We played until the street lights came on. You know what? If kids aren't doing that, it's our fault. Not their fault, our fault. My kid's out on a bike right now. Yeah, I got one that's probably in on a tablet right now, and we'll work on that some. But yeah, can't stand that term kids these days. Kids aren't any different. Society's different. We're failing them. All right, so tightening this up, make sure my battery is held down well. Now I'm going to drop down in here, make sure I'm on righty-tighty. This one would probably be easier if I didn't have 8 billion extensions on it, but I have a deep well socket that's not going to clear very well anyway. But I spy with my little eye a 10mm ratcheting wrench. We're going to drop this sucker in there, and hey, what do you know? Look at that. All right, so negative on and covered. All right, so I don't know how many of you noticed that this fell off earlier when I took the cable off. All right, these things are important, especially on a car when everything's tucked in behind everything else. So make sure as you're putting on your cables, hey, all right, the key's on. So always watch for grounding out on when you're putting on your positive. Keep your cable centered where it's supposed to be. And don't be He-Man on these things. Yes, you want it firm, you want it tight, you don't want it, but you really do not want to break that off. All right, popping that cover back on. If you're wondering why the key was on, it's because I had to push it out of the garage earlier. So I had the key turned to have the steering wheel locked loose. So that is one thing to always remember when you're hooking up your cable, that as soon as if you've got power on, as soon as you hit the ground, or if you've got ground on, as soon as you hit the power, whatever the key position the car is in, yeah, that's what it's gonna do. All right, so we're gonna just shut this off real quick. All right, now recall these little boogers here. They go here holding this bracket up. Watch your door. When you do it, because your wife will want to punch you. I'm not very coordinated, but I sure am when it comes to putting a bolt in a socket. It's amazing the things that I can do. All right, so little trick of the trade. Watch for where the washers were, because you'll notice I didn't mark anything. I didn't mark anything because I didn't have to, because you can see the washer wear. And just make sure that when you center your bolt, your washers are in the same spot. All right, and remember, I did not have to take this all the way off, even though I did. And remember that we're upside down, right? So, tie these actually to the left, because we're inverted like Maverick. Because I was like this, and he was like that. And again, this can move as well, so you want to make sure that you put it back where the marks were, because that actually sets your panel gap, believe it or not, for this body, because this is the body substructure here. So you want to make sure that you set it where it's supposed to be, or where it was, I should say. And don't flip your wrench over when checking it. All right, running this down. It's got, again, 18 miles worth of threads. Thank you, Pontiac. Cheaped out on the engine, but chose to extend all the bolts longer than they needed to be. Appreciate you. 18 ratchets later. But man, I love ratcheting wrenches. And you know what? You don't have to buy good ones. Just make sure that they're with the micro teeth so that you're not running 18 trillion times. Okay, so all we have left is the two bottom ones, the 6 around, and what I like to call the booger bolt. Now, I have debated not putting the booger bolt in. I am going to put the booger bolt in because I'm showing you how to do it the right way. And I just sprung for a 3-year battery, so hopefully I'm not doing this for another 3 years. All right, let me grab that body panel. All right, so as you can see, we lost a bit of light here, but the car's done. So there's a reason that I call that thing a booger bolt. And you know all those extensions that I had? So it really comes in handy when you're putting it back together. You'll see what I mean when you're doing it. When you're putting that bolt back in, you can use just a deep well socket and a short extension to get it started, and then you can back it off. If not, you know, it's like trying to run a 5,000 foot screwdriver, right? So just use the short extension to make sure not to scratch your paint as you get that started, and then connect up your other extensions for cinching it down. But I'll show you the finished product. Here, we did lose our sunlight, but man, it's beautiful weather. All right, so down in there, you can't see, but that's okay. It is a completed battery change on a 2006 Pontiac Solstice. It's a pain in the butt, but that's why most places won't do it for you. So never be afraid to take on something on your own. All right, have a good one. Thanks for watching.